All right, a lot of people ask. I'm going to do a quick recap of my career with Ruby Tuesdays, starting from the beginning. I started working at Ruby Tuesdays in August of 2006 in Ringgold, Georgia. I grew up in the South. My whole family is from like the Chattanooga area. So I was working at that Ruby Tuesdays in Ringgold, Georgia. In 2007, my wife started working there as a hostess, and I thought she was just amazingly cute, and we started dating, and we are about to celebrate our 17th wedding anniversary in 2 weeks. So I'm extremely grateful that I was able to meet my wife there. I worked at that Ringgold location until April 27, 2011. And I remember that day specifically because a tornado hit that store while I was working in it. There was about 8 or 9 employees that were working and about 25, 30 guests in the restaurant. We saw the tornado coming across the street. We all went into the cooler and we all survived. Nobody got hurt. Store was completely destroyed though. You can Google Ruby Tuesday Ringgold, Georgia tornado and see the pictures of that store that we all walked out of that. That was actually the most deadly day in U.S. history for tornadoes. There were so many tornadoes that day. But God had my back that day and saved every single person in there, and we all got another opportunity. So I drew unemployment for a little while. I thought that they were going to rebuild that store. They ended up not rebuilding that store. My wife transferred and worked at a different Ruby's about an hour away. We only had one car. We had a 1-year-old at the time. It's not a great situation. We both lost our job on the same day with Ruby Tuesday. My wife is originally from Upper Michigan, Howard City area. There was a few Rubies around here. We moved up here looking for an opportunity, moved in with my wife's parents. I literally moved to Big Rapids because there was a Ruby Tuesdays here. There was one here and there was one in Grand Rapids, and her parents lived right in the middle. So I chose Big Rapids and we moved here and started a life here because Ruby Tuesday was here. I started at the Big Rapids location in 2012. My first 4 years in Georgia, really good experience. My next 8 years when I first got up here, good experience. Actually, I had a great career with Ruby Tuesdays until COVID. COVID was kind of the beginning of the end for a lot of stores. They didn't reopen a lot of stores. I got furloughed twice. The first time I got furloughed, I drew unemployment. When they were ready to open back up, they didn't need as many managers. They couldn't pay as many managers, so I actually got furloughed, then demoted. Then I got promoted again, got back to my manager job. Then I got furloughed again. They shut the restaurant down a second time in the end of the year in 2020 for COVID, all the way into the first of 2021. The unemployment was not there. I worked at Family Farm and Home. I don't know anything about that field, but you know, it was hospitality and stuff, and customer service, which I have. So I worked there for about 6 months, and then they opened all the restaurants back up at full fledged again. So I went back to Ruby Tuesdays again, and worked my way up and got back into management. I actually was able to negotiate and got more money than I had before that. The next 2 years went pretty well. The last couple of years have just been a shit show for them. They have had like 3 or 4 different CEOs. They keep getting people that they think are going to be able to like fix and save the company, and they change everything that they're doing. They fire people, put new people in place, and then they quit. I've had 4 or 5 regional managers in the last 2 or 3 years. They got rid of all of the perks. They got rid of 401k match. They got rid of the tuition reimbursement that they've had for the entirety of the company. They got rid of the 50% employee discount, replaced it with 25. They got rid of the loyalty bonus for all the people that have worked there for many years like me that got that bonus every year for working for the company and staying loyal to the company. Gone. They really made it not a great place to work, and it was really hard for me at that point to pitch it to people to try to get them to work there. You know, it's just a failing company. It's owned by NRD Capital. It's basically a private equity firm for the most part, and they buy it all up and basically pay you rent. You pay them rent, and they keep putting higher interest on it, and eventually they're not going to be able to pay, and eventually it's going to close down. And I knew that, and I knew it was a sinking ship, but again, it was like a bad relationship that I couldn't get out of, you know. And again, it was a lot of my identity was wrapped up in my job and who I was. You know, I was GM of the restaurant. I worked for Ruby Tuesdays, and people asked. I was actually proud of that. But again, I just want to be done with them and start something fresh. Content, you know, I'm getting a lot of feedback from my content, so like I'm not trying to like not work and be a content creator, but I'm definitely going to try to throw more stuff on here. If I can make a little bit of income from some of my videos, that would help out tremendously right now. So thank you guys for watching. Y'all have a wonderful day.